Evelyn Carter stared into her cocktail, the amber liquid swirling under the dim light of the bar. At 34, she had achieved a career many dreamed of, yet her personal life had crumbled spectacularly. A week ago, she finalized her divorce from Jonathan, the man she had loved and trusted, only to discover his betrayal with her best friend. Tonight, she wasn't the poised and calculated lawyer known for her courtroom prowess. She was just a woman trying to drown her heartbreak in a glass of bourbon. The bartender's quiet, "Another one?" was met with a tired nod. Evelyn barely noticed the man sitting 2 seats away until he spoke. "Rough day?" The voice was deep, smooth, and filled with curiosity. Looking up, Evelyn met the striking gaze of Nathaniel Carter, a man whose face she had seen in magazines. Billionaire, philanthropist, founder of one of the fastest-growing tech companies, and now, the stranger who would change everything. Evelyn managed a dry laugh. "You could say that." Nathaniel smiled. "How about we make it better, or at least more interesting?" That was how it began, a single conversation that would lead to a night of revelations, passion, and the start of something she never saw coming. Evelyn Carter once believed she had it all: a thriving career, a devoted husband, and a promising future. As a renowned lawyer, she was known for her sharp intellect and decisive nature. At home, she was different, soft, nurturing, and utterly trusting of the man she had chosen to spend her life with. It all fell apart on a fateful afternoon when Evelyn spotted Jonathan, her husband, walking out of a restaurant with Rachel, her best friend since college. At first, she convinced herself it was just a casual lunch, until their lingering looks and subtle gestures told a different story. After weeks of piecing together clues, Evelyn uncovered the painful truth. Their affair had been going on for over a year. The betrayal shattered not only her 8-year marriage, but also her trust in everything she once held dear. Rachel, who had helped her pick out her wedding dress, was now the person sharing her husband's most intimate moments. The aftermath left Evelyn feeling torn apart. By day, she maintained her polished image in sharp suits, but by night, she sat alone in an empty apartment, grappling with feelings of abandonment and disillusionment. She wondered, how could someone so skilled at reading others have missed this? The pain morphed into anger and eventually into a resolve to rebuild herself. Evelyn knew she couldn't let this betrayal define her. That night, Evelyn stepped into the bar, her heels clicking against the marble floor, hair cascading over her shoulders, and exhaustion etched in her eyes. The bar exuded elegance, with soft golden lighting and the smooth hum of jazz filling the air. It wasn't a place she usually frequented, but tonight she needed something different, a sanctuary from her pain. She slid onto a bar stool, ordered a bourbon, then another. By the time the third glass arrived, a deep, smooth voice came from the seat nearby. "Rough day, I take it?" Evelyn turned to meet the gaze of Nathaniel Carter. He sat there with effortless confidence, dressed in a tailored black suit, his sharp features and stormy gray-blue eyes studying her. He didn't need an introduction. Evelyn recognized him instantly from business magazines. Nathaniel was the billionaire founder of Carter Technologies, famed not just for his success, but also for his undeniable charm. "Rough doesn't even begin to cover it," she replied with a wry smile. Nathaniel chuckled, setting down his drink. "Well, let's make it better, or at least more interesting." At first, Evelyn intended to brush him off, but there was something disarming about his presence. She found herself accepting his invitation. What began as casual conversation quickly turned deeper. They talked about work, her painful divorce, and her disillusionment with love. Nathaniel listened intently, his empathy evident as he shared his own past betrayal. As the drinks flowed, so did the unspoken connection between them. For the first time in months, Evelyn felt alive, not through the haze of heartbreak, but through the electric pull of attraction. That night, they left the bar together, letting emotions guide them. In Nathaniel's penthouse, they found solace and passion in each other's arms, surrendering to the undeniable chemistry that had ignited between them. Evelyn woke up to sunlight streaming through thick curtains, illuminating a room that looked like it belonged in an interior design magazine. Her head throbbed, and everything felt hazy. The dress she wore last night was now wrinkled, and her heels had been neatly placed beside a nearby sofa. It took her a few seconds to realize she wasn't at home. This was a penthouse, sleek and modern, with glass spiral staircases, expensive artwork adorning the walls, and a panoramic view of the city beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. Evelyn sat up, her heart racing as fragments of the previous night came rushing back. The bar, Nathaniel's piercing gaze, their deep conversation, and the undeniable pull that had brought them here. A soft knock on the door snapped her out of her thoughts. Nathaniel stepped in, carrying 2 mugs of coffee, his smile as effortless as ever. "Good morning," he said, placing a mug in front of her. "I figured you might need this." Evelyn accepted the coffee, her cheeks flushing. "Thanks. About last night, Nathaniel raised a hand, stopping her. "No need to explain. I don't regret it, and I hope you don't either." She looked up at him, seeing not just attraction but sincerity in his eyes. "No, I don't regret it." They talked for a while, the initial awkwardness fading. Nathaniel shared more about himself, the pressures of being a billionaire and the loneliness that often came with it. He spoke about a charitable foundation he was building to help people rebuild their lives. "To be honest," he said, sitting across from her, "I think you'd be perfect to help me with it. I need someone who understands the law and also knows what it's like to overcome personal challenges. Someone like you." Evelyn raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Are you offering me a job?" "Exactly. As a senior legal advisor, you could make a real difference, and I think together we could create something extraordinary." Evelyn hesitated. The offer wasn't just a step forward in her career, it was an opportunity to do something meaningful. She looked at Nathaniel, the man who had made her feel alive again, and realized this might be the fresh start she'd been searching for. "All right," she said. "I'll do it." In her first weeks at Nathaniel's company, Evelyn quickly became immersed in the fast-paced environment. Nathaniel's foundation was a massive project, and she soon became his trusted right hand. But while reviewing financial reports, Evelyn noticed discrepancies. Some documents had been altered and the numbers didn't add up. The deeper she dug, the clearer it became. The board of directors was orchestrating a plan to oust Nathaniel by accusing him of misusing charitable funds for personal gain. Things escalated when a board member approached Evelyn, offering her a promotion and a lucrative salary in exchange for her silence. While Evelyn was grappling with how to handle the situation, Nathaniel discovered she had the incriminating documents. "How long have you been hiding this from me?" he asked, his voice colder than she had ever heard. "Nathaniel, I needed time to understand everything," Evelyn tried to explain. "Or time to decide whose side you're on," he retorted bitterly before walking away, leaving Evelyn heartbroken. The tension between them lasted for days. Evelyn felt more drained than ever, torn between her loyalty to Nathaniel and the pressure from the board, haunted by his cutting words. One morning, overwhelmed by nausea and dizziness, Evelyn decided to see a doctor. When she learned she was pregnant, she was completely stunned. The doctor's words felt distant, as if they belonged to someone else's story. A rush of conflicting emotions, joy, fear, and uncertainty, overwhelmed her. The news came at a time when her relationship with Nathaniel felt strained and fragile. She couldn't help but wonder, would he be ready for this, and what if he wasn't? Sitting in her car, Evelyn placed a hand on her belly. She felt both terrified and overwhelmed with emotion. "How am I going to tell him? Especially now," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. She resolved to keep the news to herself, grappling with the weight of her secret. Each night, as she stared at the ultrasound photo tucked inside her desk drawer, she felt torn between fear and hope. As the shareholder meeting approached, Evelyn realized that protecting Nathaniel's legacy was about more than just their relationship. It was about the future of their child, too. Armed with evidence and a renewed sense of purpose, she walked into the boardroom with unwavering confidence, facing the piercing gazes of the board members. Her presentation was sharp, clear, and irrefutable. Evelyn exposed the entire conspiracy, leaving the board defenseless. Nathaniel, seated in the corner of the room, looked at her with a mixture of surprise and admiration. After the shareholder meeting, Nathaniel invited Evelyn to the rooftop of the building. The crisp evening air surrounded them, and the city lights twinkled below like a sea of stars. "You truly saved me, Evelyn," Nathaniel said, his eyes filled with gratitude and sincerity. Not just the company, but me. Evelyn smiled softly, her gaze warm yet tinged with shyness. I just did what was right. But I'll admit, it wasn't easy. Nathaniel stepped closer, his eyes never leaving hers. Evelyn, you've taught me something important. Sometimes, to build something extraordinary, you have to trust someone else. And I trust you. He took a deep breath, as if gathering courage. I don't just want to thank you for standing by me. I want you by my side, forever. Nathaniel dropped to one knee, pulling out a small velvet box. Inside was a delicate diamond ring, glittering in the rooftop lights. Evelyn Carter, Nathaniel said, his voice trembling slightly as he held her gaze. I don't just want to thank you for standing by me. You've shown me what it means to trust again, to hope again. I want you by my side, not just in the boardroom, but in everything. Will you marry me? Evelyn covered her mouth, tears streaming down her cheeks. She nodded, her voice trembling. Yes, I will. But before Nathaniel could slip the ring on her finger, she hesitated and added, Nathaniel, there's something else you need to know. He looked at her, concern flashing across his face. What is it? Evelyn took his hand, her eyes brimming with emotion. I'm pregnant. Nathaniel froze for a moment before a radiant smile spread across his face. He pulled her into his arms, spinning her around in pure joy. God, that's the best thing I've ever heard. They stood there, wrapped in each other's embrace, letting the moment wash over them. All the pain and challenges of the past seemed like a distant memory. A month later, at the launch party for the Foundation's new initiative, the Phoenix program, Evelyn and Nathaniel greeted attendees together. The program was designed to help individuals rebuild their lives after personal crises. In her speech, Evelyn said, Today, we're not just celebrating a new initiative. We're celebrating hope. Hope that anyone, no matter how broken, can find the strength to start again. Nathaniel, standing beside her, gave her hand a gentle squeeze. A silent thank you. As the night fell, they stood together on the balcony, gazing at the city below. Nathaniel smiled, placing a hand on Evelyn's growing belly. What do you think about a spring wedding? Evelyn laughed, leaning into him. Spring is perfect. That's when everything blooms again. Spring arrived, carrying the soft scent of flowers and a fresh, hopeful breeze. Evelyn and Nathaniel's wedding took place at an estate nestled on a hill, surrounded by blooming cherry blossoms and a cloudless blue sky. Now, nearly 7 months pregnant, Evelyn radiated elegance and grace in a custom wedding gown designed to highlight her growing belly. She stood in the dressing room, her hand resting gently on her bump, feeling the soft kicks of her unborn child. Her eyes sparkled with joy and anticipation. Little one, today, your father and I are starting a new journey, she whispered. In the garden below, Nathaniel waited in a perfectly tailored black tuxedo. The music began and Evelyn appeared at the end of the petal-lined aisle. Everyone held their breath, captivated by her presence, but Nathaniel's gaze was fixed solely on her. As they exchanged vows, Nathaniel held Evelyn's hands, his thumb brushing over her wedding ring. Evelyn, you've not only changed my life, you've given me a family, a hope I never knew I needed. I promise to be the husband and father you and our child deserve. Tears welled in Evelyn's eyes. Nathaniel, you've shown me that even when everything falls apart, love can rise again. I promise to love you, trust you, and welcome our child into this world with all the joy in my heart. They exchanged rings and sealed their vows with a kiss as cheers erupted around them. That evening, under twinkling lights strung through the trees, Nathaniel rested a hand on Evelyn's belly as they danced. I can't wait to meet our little one, he whispered. Evelyn smiled, leaning into him. Our baby will know they were born from the greatest love. Spring turned to summer, and with it came a new chapter for Evelyn and Nathaniel. Their wedding vows still lingered in Evelyn's mind, a promise of building a future together. That promise came full circle on a bright June morning when their first child, Grace Carter, was born. Her first cries sounded like the sweetest music they'd ever heard, a reminder that every struggle they'd faced had been worth it. Evelyn lay in the hospital bed, her eyes filled with tears of happiness as she held Lily for the first time. "Hello, my little angel," she whispered, gently caressing her daughter's soft cheek. Nathaniel stood beside her, his gaze fixed on the two most important people in his life. He leaned down, pressing a tender kiss to Evelyn's forehead and then to Lily's. "You did it, Evelyn. You're incredible," he said, his voice thick with emotion. The early days of parenthood were both challenging and joyful. Nathaniel, who once managed a massive corporation with thousands of employees, now found himself learning how to change diapers and lull Lily to sleep with a slightly off-key but heartfelt lullaby. Evelyn, with her natural maternal instincts, felt more complete than ever before. One late August afternoon, as the sun set and bathed their home in golden light, Nathaniel held Lily in his arms and turned to Evelyn, who was resting on the sofa. "I think she looks like you," he said with a bright smile. Evelyn laughed, her gaze soft. "But she has your eyes and your smile." They decided to host a small gathering at their home, inviting their closest friends and family to meet Lily. During a short toast, Nathaniel held Evelyn's hand and said to everyone, "Today, we celebrate not just Lily's arrival, but the family I've always dreamed of. Evelyn, you're not just the woman I love, you've made this house a home." That evening, after Lily had fallen asleep in her crib, Nathaniel and Evelyn sat together on the balcony, gazing at the star-filled sky. "I didn't think life could ever be this perfect," Nathaniel said, giving Evelyn's hand a gentle squeeze. Evelyn leaned her head against his shoulder, a contented smile on her lips. "We've been through so much to get here, and I think it was all worth it." And there, under the night sky, they felt their lives had truly come full circle.